So, if you remember how my last video went, I kind of didn't really, I wasn't really that positive. I want to be a little more positive on this one and just do a JoJo video, because why not? Today, we're going to talk about what would happen if one of my favorite characters from part 2, one of the only good characters, in fact, from part 2, and one of my favorite villains, these both, turned good and did not die. So, if you're wondering who, it's Wamuu. A fan favorite character, by the way, and actually one of my favorites from part 2, alongside Joseph and Stroheim. And that was it. Honestly, those were the only good characters. Maybe I'll do a part 2 rant. I'm gonna take a break from the rants because the Kyoko rant took a lot from me. So, yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about what would happen if Wamuu did not die against Joseph and instead just turned good. But first, this was a suggestion, because I gotta give out a shout out. Thanks to Lucky for suggesting this interesting idea. He also requested another video, which will be out next week, and I will probably get that one done as well. Next week, by the way. So, yeah, with all that being said, everything's been covered down, and let's start the actual video. So we go with part 2 and how it originally started off, etc., etc. Everything happens, and Joseph and Wamuu still fight, but this time Wamuu does not die. Joseph maybe is like, I see some good in you. You should turn good or something, yada yada. Or maybe have Wamuu not die and just decide to call a truce. He then watches Lisa and Cars fight, and Cars cheats to beat Lisa. Wamuu, an honorable warrior who does not like cheating, would feel disrespected. His leader, Cars, who is a pillarman and pillarmen do not cheat, basically spit in his face. Wamuu would help Joseph fight Cars, and they would basically battle to become ultimate life form, and who would basically, the loser would die and get melted to the sun. As for who would win, let's say Wamuu wins. If it's Cars winning, then the events of 2 just goes the same. The only thing is Wamuu dies a hero. But let's say Wamuu gets that. Wamuu is able to get the Redstone of Asia and the Stone Mask, and he becomes the ultimate life form before Cars can. What changes? Well, there's 3 options. Wamuu speed blitz Cars, Cars dies to the sun, or Wamuu just destroys Cars and lets Joseph kill him. We'll say it's the third case scenario. Maybe the first 2 as well. Hard to say. Doesn't matter. Etc. Etc. Cars is not going to be the ultimate life form, and he dies. With that being said, how will this change part 3 and onwards? Now we are going to start as Crusaders, where the question is, when does Wamuu join the team? I would have it happen around the middle, around the same time Iggy joined, and when Kakuin took that injury. Around that time, we'll say Kakuin still gets his injury, and Joseph needs an additional member to the team to kind of fill Kakuin's role. He's gonna find the character who he finds is the smartest member to replace Kakuin at the moment, Wamuu. Being the ultimate life form means he's got that 400 IQ, and he has all those powers. Does Wamuu have a stand? Probably not, but however, he probably knows what stands are. He's probably told in advance on how they work by the Speedwagon Foundation, and would probably work for them as well as like a guardian, and would probably be their ace in the hold in case if there's a big emergency, which Dio would be. As for Wamuu Ultimate Life Form fights, honestly, if you put Wamuu against any of the villains of Part 3, I just gotta say it. Wamuu obliterates anyone as the ultimate life form. The only exception is probably Alessi, and that's in case Wamuu is basically standing too long under a shadow. He gets turned back into a pillarman and melts to the sun. But then again, if you tamper with Wamuu's shadow, he'll probably just beat the crap out of you. Mariah maybe beats him, but that's debatable. Like, Wamuu probably still has the physical strength and has that 400 IQ, so he probably destroys her. Maybe older Darby can beat him. Like, legitimately. The two brother guys, Oingo and Boingo, they don't do nothing. All Boingo can do is predict Wamuu's death, and Oingo could just turn into Wamuu, and then Wamuu just kills both of them. That's pretty easy to have there. Like, legitimately, Wamuu kills just about everyone because he's an overpowered ultimate life form. This is so unfair. How about the other parts of the story? Younger Darby gets killed. The group can probably go in to fight Vanilla Ice. Who would Ice go after first? It'd probably try to get all the group out in one fell swoop. Avdol probably is the first to notice, meaning Avdol's still dying, meaning it's Wamuu versus Ice. Wamuu would probably want everyone to leave, and it would just be Wamuu and Ice battling. Maybe Joseph stays to help, with the two of them basically teaming up. As for who wins, probably Joseph and Wamuu, but it'd be a close fight, and would probably be Wamuu's first actual challenge in the story, and is also his only tough challenge. At that point, Jotaro, Kakyoin, Polnareff, and Avdol can go. I mean, not Avdol, but Iggy can go to meet Dio, and it would be those four against Dio, while Joseph and like Wamuu could just kill Ice, and they can go up and join them later. How does it change the story when they're all out to fight Dio? Well, I mean, you have 6 members of the team, so there'd be a split up, and I think Wamuu would just go with Kakyoin and Joseph. Now, Wamuu having a 400 IQ means he may actually ask technical questions about what Dio was doing when he met them. Did Dio reveal his stand? They'll probably say yes. What was Dio doing, and how did he tamper with them? Polnareff would probably talk about how he was moving him down the stairs repeatedly, despite him moving up. At that point, Wamuu would have to think of how this would work, alongside the others. Wamuu would start kind of trying to plan out some styles of fighting, and would realize that there's only one option. He would have to have some kind of ability resolving around teleportation or time manipulation. Around that point, they would want to test out that theory by trying to have Wamuu fight Dio off. As for why Wamuu, there's a few reasons. Joseph's too old and doesn't really have too much Hamon experience, while Kakyoin has no Hamon experience. Wamuu has Hamon experience because he's the ultimate life form, and I think it'd probably be easier to take him out. Dio would probably use his time stop and hit Wamuu. As for if this would kill Wamuu, I mean, unless he's got enough strength to punch him into the atmosphere, I don't see Wamuu dying, and Wamuu would probably just survive an attack. Would he be knocked out for the rest of the fight? Maybe. That kind of depends if you want to do that, which is probably the route I would go with. And then I think the rest of the story could probably go the same. And I probably think Iggy might die in the fight. Maybe. Hard to say there. I think the group would all survive at the end, in my honest opinion, and parts 3 would just end the same way, with Avdol dying only, and Kakyoin, Iggy, and Wamuu would be alive with the others. Now we go to part 4, and I don't really see Wamuu in this part. In my honest opinion, I don't see him here, and if he was there, how would he do against someone like Kira or something, is probably your question. Well, let's put Kira up against the ultimate life form. We'll say, for the sake of the scenario, Jotaro and Joseph and Kakyoin call Wamuu, and Wamuu decides to appear and fight Kira. How would Wamuu vs. Kira work? I'm going to say it depends on how it depends the Kira on the style. If this is Kira from when we first meet him, like only Killer Queen, Wamuu probably wins unless Kira does some kind of attack. I feel like it depends on who gets the first touch in the fight. If Kira is able to touch Wamuu with Killer Queen first, Kira wins. If Wamuu is able to hit Kira with some kind of attack, Wamuu wins. Either way, it just depends on who gets the first attack. Sheer Heart Attack, this one's gonna go to Sheer Heart Attack in my opinion, because Wamuu cannot see it, and even for saying the ultimate life form has advanced eyesight to a point where it can see stands, then still Wamuu will probably not be able to actually destroy Sheer Heart Attack. At that point, legitimately, He dies there easily. Now, when it comes to Stray Cat Killer Queen combined, we never got to see a Stray Cat Killer Queen bomb disintegrate someone, though. That was the thing. We've seen it blow chunks of body parts, like as seen with Okuyasu, but would it do anything to Wamuu? Probably not. Wamuu could probably tank those attacks, unless he aims for the head or something. But then again, if the ultimate life form loses their head, do they just get it back or something? I have no idea. Either way, Wamuu probably can tank all those attacks. And if it goes to bite the dust, I feel like it depends what kind of situation it is. If Wamuu's in like a situation similar to how Rohan was, he'd lose. If he's in a situation similar to Josuke no Kiyasu, where he finds out Kira was actually Kosaku, I feel like Wamuu would instantly go for the kill, trying to give Kira to use Killer Queen, meaning he wouldn't die to bite the dust. So I think Wamuu, there's a 50-50 chance to Wamuu living and dying against Kira, in my honest opinion. For other villains, and if there's villains that could beat him in part 4, no villain stands I can really think of, but I think that Heaven's Door and the Hand could probably beat the Ultimate Life Form, though. But that's in case Wamuu comes in early enough that the group call him in around that time. Those are the only ways, in my honest opinion. But yeah, Wamuu and 4, that would kind of be it. Now we put Wamuu in part 5, and really, I doubt Wamuu would be here, but if he was, we'll say maybe Polnareff and Iggy called him in some way, or Speedwagon Foundation wanted Wamuu to search into Polnareff being missing. With that, Wamuu is now in Italy, and Wamuu would find out about the whole boss and all that. How would all the antagonists do against him, and is there an antagonist from part 5 that can beat the Ultimate Life Form? No. I'm saying no with a question mark because there are stands that possibly could. Notorious B.I.G. could probably absorb Wamuu unless he just runs away from off the bat. Formaggio and Tiny Feet could shrink Wamuu and just crush him with the heel, with his heel or something. I don't know. Man in the Mirror maybe, but that's like putting yourself into a cage with a tiger. At that point, you're instantly gonna get yourself killed. Beach Boy maybe. Grateful Dead wouldn't work. Babyface, I think I pronounced it right. Hard to say how that one would do. Probably lose. White Album loses. Metallica, interesting case scenario, but would probably lose. But then again, it is possible that Risotto could beat Wamuu, but then again, if Wamuu does have 400 IQ, he's going to use it wisely, and Risotto was kind of an idiot when it came to his powers, so I feel like Wamuu would win. Other villains, Clash and Talking Head, easy difficulty. Taurus B.I.G. probably loses. Sekko destroys. Chocolate honestly depends how the Green Day fight goes. If it's short range, Wamu's winning. If it's long range, Chocolate can just melt him with Green Day. King Crimson, none of Diavol's attacks do nothing. When I mean nothing, I mean legitimately 0 to nothing against him. Those are the only stands. Green Day is the only stand alongside Notorious B.I.G. and maybe Tiny Feet. Those are the only stands I think that stand a chance against him. That's all. So now this video is kind of turned more to a power scaling, but whatever. I'm just kind of having fun with this idea. So yeah. How would part 6 change though, if Wamu's there? Part 6 is weird. Whitesnake defeats Wamuu. That's my opinion. Ultimate Life Form Wamuu. What? I don't know what I just said there, but Ultimate Life Form Wamuu. He gets destroyed by Whitesnake because Pucci with prep time probably is able to win, in my honest opinion. Any part 6 antagonists that can beat Wamuu. Kind of similar to the Tiny Feet case. Maybe Goo Goo Dolls and Green Green Gas of Home. Maybe could. Heavy Weather is a possibility, but then again, that's debatable. Other stands, I don't really know. Maybe Stone Free. It was able to punch a meteor away, so that's possible. And you can take it with a grain of salt. Maybe Jolene can beat Wamuu Ultimate Life Form. I don't really think anyone else from 6. Most of the stands were kind of weak and stupid in Part 6, so... Like, mine is from Poochie stands. Poochie stands destroy Wamuu. All 3. White Snake, all that he needs to do is just take his disc. Sea Moon has gravity manipulation. Could probably just send Wamuu into space, and he could just suffer the same fate as Cars. Made in Heaven resets the universe, or just chops Wamuu to bits and pieces before he can regenerate. That's all he needs to do. At that point, Ultimate Lifeform Wamuu cannot really beat Poochie. So if we were like to put him in any part with main antagonist and he's got to die to a main antagonist, I probably think 4 or 6 is the way to go. Depending on where you see Wamuu coming back, would he come back? He's the ultimate life form, and I'd say so. Would he be killed off? Depends on what part you're putting him in. If you're putting him in like part 4 or 6, then he's gonna die. Part 5, probably not, because there's really no stand that could kill the ultimate life form Wamuu in part 5. So yeah, that's kind of the ending of the video. I'd say that ultimate life form Wamuu is overpowered, but at the same time, this what if just turned into a power scaling at the end, and that's kind of how it went at the end. So yeah. Thank you to Lackitude for suggesting the video, and thanks in advance for him to suggest next week's video. Also, another little thing I need to say is thanks for watching the video, and I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. Goodbye.